I don't think sincerely that people are intentional in trying to cause you additional pain. I really don't. I really just think that it is a matter of people being ill-informed. In fact, I was one of said people before I walked through this grieving process and journey myself. I was one who, for fear of saying the wrong thing, said nothing oftentimes. For fear of adding insult to injury or worsening a person's pain, I tended to avoid the person. I was never the one to visit the hospital, never the one to go to like family hours and visiting hours. I would send things, but I would tend to avoid that. Hey y'all, it's Crystal Speaks Life, and I help women around the world turn their pain into purpose and their hurt into healing so you can stop surviving and start thriving. Yeah, come on in, my sister, have a seat. Today I want to talk about my experience through my grieving process, which I often speak of. It was a life-altering experience, as you can imagine, and what I discovered is a lot of people don't know what to say or what not to say when someone is grieving. And so I wanted to offer my assistance with that if I can, to help give you 5 things not to say. 5 things you don't want to say to someone who is grieving. If you have ever gone through a grieving process and someone intentionally or unintentionally added fuel to the fire, added salt to that wound, you know some of the things I'm about to say already. Put me in the chat. If you've experienced that, put me in the chat. I don't think sincerely that people are intentional in trying to cause you additional pain. I really don't. I really just think that it is a matter of people being ill-informed. In fact, I was one of said people before I walked through this grieving process and journey myself. I was one who, for fear of saying the wrong thing, said nothing oftentimes. For fear of adding insult to injury or worsening a person's pain, I tended to avoid the person. I was never the one to visit the hospital, never the one to go to like family hours and visiting hours. I would send things, but I would tend to avoid that until, first of all, I became a nurse, and death and dying became something that was not common, but it was not foreign to me anymore. And then, of course, having 2 miscarriages and ultimately losing my husband in December of 2023, that's when I had the closest death experience to me as an adult. And it changed my approach to supporting people who are grieving. And so I'm here to help. Hallelujah. I'm here to help so that when this happens to someone close to you, because death and dying is something that's common to the human experience, right? So this is not a foreign concept, but there's a level of discomfort that we can experience if we don't know what to do and what not to do. So today we're going to emphasize 5 things that you don't want to say. And maybe throughout this, I'll pepper in some things that you do want to say, or we may do that in a separate video. Number 1, if you're ready, put ready in the chat. Number 1, you don't want to say they're in a better place. Now, are they in a better place? Maybe. Sorry. We don't know that. I don't like to make judgments about people's eternal destination. We don't know that, but I'm sure you're thinking that it's kind to say that, but we don't know that. Early in the grief phase, that kind of commentary can really sting, because I don't want them to be in a better place. I want them to be here with me. And pain is often it can make us selfish, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation, but we're thinking about ourselves. It's like, I don't care that they're in a better place. I miss them, is what I'm saying. We don't want to make judgments about people's eternal destination, and we don't want to be insensitive to the fact that although we're glad that they're in a better place, we still miss them though, okay? Here's what to say instead. I know how much you miss them. I'm here with you. Look at that. And what is that doing? That's normalizing their pain and their grief, and it's choosing to sit with them in silence for a period of time. Silence is so precious when someone is grieving. I remember the people who sat with me. I remember the people who cried with me. I remember the people who avoided me, and I don't fault them for that because I used to be that person. And so you want to avoid saying they're in a better place. Instead, say, I know how much you miss them. I'm here with you. Are you feeling empowered already? All right, good. Let's go to the next one. Number 2 of things not to say to someone who's grieving. At least they lived a long life. Oh, Jesus. I might have said this to someone in the past. My husband, his father passed when he was 100 years old. And I'm sure many people said to him as he was grieving and crying and dealing with the loss of his father, at least he lived a long time. Like, what are you crying for? Here's what I say to that. The longer the person lives, the longer the grief, because you had them for a long period of time. You had a lot of time to cherish them, a lot more memories. And so there's something to be said for that. Grief is not measured by the years that we live. It's measured by the love that you share. So it's not measured by the years that the person lived. It's measured by the love that you share. So whether someone lived for 16 years or 100 years like my husband's dad, the pain of losing them is still very real. And saying that minimizes the person's hurt and grief. You don't want to do that. Here's what you say instead. I know this loss is deep. How are you doing today? So it's not, it's acknowledging the depth of the loss and asking sincerely how the person is doing. Are y'all all right? These are so helpful. All right, number 3, you'll find someone else. Somebody told me, you're young, you'll get married again. Really? It's like, in the moment, I'm sure that they thought that was helpful or some way to give me hope for the future. I've heard of women who've lost children that they'll say, at least you have 2 other children. Like, it's fine. Like, they're the replacements for the one that passed away. What are you crying about? No. If you're a mommy, you know you love that baby from the womb. And so any loss of a child, any loss of a loved one, you'll find someone else or you'll move on with your life. It diminishes the person's pain. You don't want to do that. Grief is not about replacing someone. It's about honoring the life and the love that you shared with that person, okay? Love does not get erased. It just makes room for more. I was blessed to remarry, but I did not forget my first marriage to the gentleman that I was married to for 16 years and together with for 20 years. Thankfully, I have an amazing husband who has loved me in my grief and through my grief, has been so patient and kind with myself and my daughter. But that's something that you don't want to say. You'll find someone else, you'll move on. It's like saying you'll get over it, like it's fine. No, we don't want to do that. Here's what to say instead. I don't have the right words, but I want you to know that you're not alone. Look at that. Are y'all writing these down? These are helpful. You want to put these in your phone when someone's grieving. Scroll through your notes and search grief, create you a grief note and put it in your phone. So when someone's grieving, they call you like, hold on, girl, let me grab my notes. You do that, okay? Don't make it obvious. Be cool about it, but make sure that you're prepared and you can empower other people. So share this information, please. I don't have the words right now. I don't have the right words, but I want you to know that you're not alone. Good. Last one, number 5. Are you ready? Put ready in the chat. The last and final one. Aren't you over it yet? Like, one of the worst words you can say to someone is still when they're grieving. Are you still crying over it? Are you still struggling with that? I don't understand. Aren't you over it? Like, it's been a couple of weeks. People bless their hearts. Bless their heart. Grief does not have an expiration date. It's not linear. Some days you feel like you're gaining ground and you're totally healed, and then here comes a wave and knocks you off of your feet. Some days you function, other days it hits you all over again and you can barely get out of bed. Comments like this shame the grieving person instead of supporting them. And I know you don't want to do that. I know you don't want to make someone feel badly because they feel badly. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So you really want to be supportive and not add shame to a person. You don't want to tell them, aren't you over it yet? Why are you still crying over it? No. Here's what to say instead. I know that grief takes time, and I'll be patient with you. Look at that. You feel how that sounds? Like, that sounds much better, much more therapeutic. I know that grief takes time, and I'm willing to be here and to be patient with you. I've got a bonus one that's not here on my notes, but it's coming to my mind right now. Let's see, aren't you over it yet? Let me go back over these again. Number one, they're in a better place. At least they live a long life. You'll find someone else. Everything happens for a reason. And aren't you over it yet? Wow. Here's one that's coming to mind. The Lord works in mysterious ways. So you're trying to say that God like killed my husband or killed my kid? Or it's like, what are we saying? Like, how am I supposed to comprehend what you're saying when I'm in the throes of grief? That's insensitive, and we call that spiritual bypassing. It's like just slap a hallelujah on whatever's going on in your life and you'll be fine. No, we don't just toss holy oil in our lives. We deal with things. We grapple with our grief. We sit with our feelings, and it's quite biblical, but I'm not going to go away with y'all today. All right, so there you have it. 5 things not to say when someone who is grieving to someone who is grieving, and some loving alternatives to share. I hope these are beneficial to you. All right, take care. Crystal Speaks Live.